us on Facebook at Daunta A. Long. Follow us on Instagram at Daunta Long. Follow us on YouTube at Daunta A. Long. Thank you for tuning in to Long Talk.
Good evening, and welcome to Long Talk. I'm so grateful to have this opportunity to talk with you again on this wonderful Tuesday evening, just a few days shy of our wonderful 2020 and Christmas Day. And so on this evening, we are so grateful that you have taken the time to come on and talk to us on this evening. What a joy and a privilege it is always to have to talk to you. And tonight, if you're joining us for the first time, I will invite you, please, ma'am, please, sir, to follow us here at Long Talk by going to Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or perhaps even YouTube. You can always on Facebook like and share and perhaps even start a watch party. Or if you so choose tonight, you may go ahead and follow us on Instagram. Begin a brand new conversation with us on Twitter. We're always having meaningful dialogue on Twitter in our Twitter community. And then lastly, on YouTube, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. All right. Thank you so much. Listen, I've been saying this, and listen, the broken record has not fallen off the needle, but you need to get to the polls, family. Get to the polls. Listen, with all sincerity and with all honestness of my heart to you, my family, Long Talk family. Let's get to the polls. We have just a few days. As a matter of fact, only 8 days left. Right at about 8 days or so left that we can get to the poll for early voting. During the general election, so many of us, including myself, we took advantage of that. And we're looking for as many of you to do so in the days to come. Already reports are saying that over 150,000 Georgians have already done so. Let's push that number. Let's double that number by next Wednesday or next Thursday, if you will. All right. Let's do that. I believe that we can. All right, family. All right. Listen, tonight we are so happy because we know that we have meaningful dialogue each time that we come together. And tonight in our meaningful dialogue, we are going to make sure that we discover some truths tonight that many have been asking. And this is the reason why we're here tonight, to literally discuss what is on the hearts of so many. And in this pandemic and in this time in which we are in, so many are lacking courage and so many are lacking the ability to press forward in the capacity in which they need to, and it is earnestly needed. Well, tonight our host has penned a book that is blazing Amazon charts because he has spoken to this topic of leadership. He's spoken to this topic of leadership and he's talking to specifically young men, but the principles really apply to any and everybody. Listen, he's a well-known speaker. He travels all across the country preaching and teaching and doing seminars. Here locally, he's the executive pastor of the Limitless Church. And tonight, our dear friend and our brother is with us. Friends, Long Talk audience, help me welcome. Listen, he's our dear brother, Brother Levi Harrell. How you doing tonight, man?
What's up, brother? I'm doing very, very well. How are you?
I'm doing good, man, and so glad to have you here with us tonight.
I'm glad for the invitation, and I'm glad to be here. I'm excited. I've heard great things about this show, great things about you, so I'm just glad to be here.
Man, listen, you taking the time to come on and talk to us is just a delight, because we are always happy when it is that individuals will make sure that they come by and talk to us. And so we're just happy that you've taken the time to come by, man. Trust all is going well for you.
Absolutely no complaints. If it got any better, I wouldn't know what to do with myself.
Man, listen, man. Again, just so delighted and so happy to have you here. I want to ask you this tonight, man. There may be somebody who does not know exactly who you are. Would you just take just a moment to go ahead and talk to our audience and just let them know exactly who is Levi Harrell?
Absolutely. Well, outside of the credentials, I'm a real chill, goofy, laid back kind of guy that just loves everybody. And my life's mission and assignment is to be a voice to communicate hope, empowerment. I have a heart for leaders, but the reality is when we hear that, most people think it just means being an executive at a corporate office or a church or whatever. But no, everybody's a leader. You can lead your house, you can lead your family, you can lead your community. So there's a leader in all of us. So that's that. But from a credentialing perspective, I am a 2-time #1 Amazon bestselling author. I've received different awards from the Secretary of State here in Georgia, a whole bunch of different things, ordained under my spiritual mother, Dr. Cindy Trim. And yeah, I mean, I just do a lot of different things. I'm a strategic business coach. I help people with their outlining and mentoring and things of that sort. It's a lot of different things. It's always weird to answer that question because I forget. And then lastly, I am also the editor-in-chief of Plastique Magazine, which is an Atlanta-based magazine here for fashion, entertainment, beauty, and things of that sort as well. So I got my hand in a lot of pots. I'm trying to become all things to win some, you know? So
Man, you are so busy and you've taken the time to come and chat with us tonight, man. I'm just so grateful. And tonight, the reason why you're here primarily is because of this Amazon bestseller that's been talking to so many about developing the leadership capacity that is within them.
Yes.
Talk to us a little bit about this book tonight.
Yes, so absolutely. It's called Young Sir, 12 Principles for Becoming a Man of Character, Commitment, and Courage. And as you stated, you can get the book off of Amazon.com. You got it in the Kindle version, or you can just get a hard copy. But yeah, it's funny because when I wrote this book, I actually struggled with it. And the reason being is because statistically speaking, more females read books more than men do. And I felt like, God, why do you have me writing a book like this to a demographic that one doesn't even know they need it? And then if they did know they needed it, they're probably not going to read it. And I hate to say it that way, but I was that guy too. But I said, you know what? I got to do it. I just got to do it. And literally when I released it, within the week, it started going international. And I don't mean that like, oh, I got a bunch of money and stuff now, but just in terms of like the reach, it started reaching people in Italy and London and other places. And I'm just grateful and I'm thankful. And what's interesting about the book is I infuse a lot of my own life struggles. Some that already know my story know that I grew up in a single parent home, raised by my mother. You know, I had a lot of different things I dealt with in life that made me feel like I didn't have the capacity to be the man that God called and created me to be. But little did I know that all the struggles, the ups and downs, basically being homeless at one point in my life, having no electricity, having to, you know, get a what do you call it? I can't remember now, but basically an ice box, if you will, to put sandwiches in and go to the dollar menu, trying to survive and light candles and all these things like that. Like, people have no idea. They look at my life now and they're like, oh, he's this and he's that. And I'm like, you have no idea that I've been through a little bit of everything. I don't come from money. I don't come from fortune or fame. But basically my life struggles, I was able to turn it into this book to teach other people how to become what you've never been. And I literally took the things I didn't have and did the opposite. So for example, if I saw someone who tried being a gangbanger, if you will, and it didn't work out. Okay, well, if it didn't work, well, let me go to corporate America and see if that works, you know?
Yeah.
And literally, that's the success of my life. I just did the opposite of what I knew what not to do, even if I didn't know what I was doing. So this book is a combination of principles helping young men and whomever would like to read it navigate the terrains of manhood on their own, being the leaders of their families and their communities. Because I think the issue with our world today is a lack of moral, ethical leadership.
Man, that's so good. And so many times they often say that the best books are those books that are written from the heart that tell the story of our real lives, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And I believe that's perhaps the reason why this book has really resonated with so many people from so many different walks of life, because it is that you have made sure that you spared no expense in being transparent enough to share and to make sure that you're vulnerable enough to allow people to learn from your mistakes while building them up so that they can continue to be the best that they can be, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Your story is the game changer. I know this ain't part of the thing, but just real quick, I want to say, like, I tell people all the time, tell your story. When I'm doing strategic business coaching, I tell people all the time, you do not have to worry about seeming like somebody else as long as you infuse your story. Yes, someone else might have went through a divorce like you, but they didn't go through it the same way you went through it. So you got to make sure you tell your truth, be transparent and as honest as possible, because that's what makes you different. We have enough people doing the same thing like everybody else. But if you want to be a cutting edge leader, infuse your story. You went through it for a reason. Use it.
You're absolutely right. Boy, we live in a day where people are just so comfortable mimicking somebody else.
Yeah.
Following the trend, right? But it takes real courage. Takes courage, and that's again tonight's conversation. Yes. Courage in the midst of this crisis, as you focus in, and we're gonna talk about that in a minute. But courage to go against the grain, right? To do that which is not popular, to talk about that which many will tell you to be quiet and hush. Yes. And you're saying in this book tonight, no, listen, we're gonna let it out. We're gonna talk about it. We're going to, first of all, we're going to use myself because I went through it. I'm not just going to give you something rehearsed from somebody else's book. Right. I'm going to talk about what's going on, what has happened in my life, what's going on in my life. And I'm going to make sure that I give you the real life strategies and principles.
And what you just said is key. And so many people copy other people's books and say stuff. And here's the thing. If you're an avid reader, like they say, leaders are readers, we know you're copying somebody's book and they're preaching. People go on YouTube and watch other people's sermons and try to preach it, or their TED Talks and try to say it. I'm like, y'all, do you not know? First of all, if I know your character, if I know your personality, if I know how you even articulate your words, I know good and well that was Bishop Jakes, not you. Come on now.
Levi.
And you're doing yourself a disservice by doing that. Like,
I'll never forget, I was sitting in church a year ago. I had just went to a conference, and a guest preacher came in that I went to the conference earlier that week, and just thinking about it, man, people were going crazy, and I was just sitting there looking like, wow, he's really doing this. Yeah. And my friend called me up and said, man, hey, man, why you wasn't getting with the preacher? I said, because I just heard that same message Tuesday, right?
Exactly. But see, the reality is some of these leaders are banking on the people's ignorance. And as long as people choose to be ignorant, they will continue to be a carbon copy and do what they do. So I have to then put the blame on the people sometimes, because you should know. Now, it's not always their fault, but I'm just saying, don't let people bank off your ignorance. Don't do it. Don't do it. But anywho, that's a whole nother thing. I'm going to whole tangent about that.
Oh, man. Listen, I want to get into this that we talked about here with the book. Man, in this book, again, you are talking about developing the characteristics, making sure that you possess these character traits. And the first thing that I love that you talk about in the book is vision, because it's really all about what you see, right?
Yep.
And in the book, I was taking notes here. You said vision is a simultaneous state of anticipation, discernment, and understanding. It's a vivid reality that exists in our minds, right?
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
Absolutely. So it's your responsibility to bring what's in your mind's eye here into the earth realm. Oftentimes people are like, man, how come I'm having visions about this? How come I'm having dreams about this? And you try to talk to people that you know, and they don't get it, they don't understand. But what it is it's the area where your anticipation, your understanding, your intellect, and all that collide. And then you have to realize, oh, I'm a conduit to make this thing happen. The shirt I'm wearing, the jacket I'm wearing, was a concept and an idea that was in somebody's mind's eye. And if they didn't write the blueprint, write the sketch, write the design, and then get with a designer or whomever or a distributor to make it happen, it wouldn't be here today. So vision is what we all need, because if you don't know where you're going, you can never get there. I forget how the saying goes. I think it says your feet will never take you where your mind has never been.
Wow.
You know, And so you have to see it before you see it, or you never will see it. You have to feel it. You have to dream it. You have to live in that space. I'll even go further and say vision is not just something we see in our dreams or in the realm of the spirit, but the concept of vision itself is a realm. So if you live in a place of anticipation, then you're always going to receive something new. If you live in a place of just readiness and thinking outside the box, you'll soon realize there was never a box to begin with. And so vision will take you where you've never been. But the reality is you cannot get irritated. You cannot get depressed or feel overwhelmed when the people around you don't see what you see. It's your job to bring what you see in your mind's eye here into the earth realm. And then people will finally understand what you're saying. So as a leader, as a young sir, or even as a young woman, if you want people to live the life or meet you in life, if you will, you have to cast the vision so that way they can then live in the vision with you.
So the responsibility is on me, is what you're basically saying.
Absolutely. It is your responsibility. A lot of times we think, oh, if so-and-so would do this, if so-and-so would do that. It's not their vision. And the reality is you can try to put your vision in somebody's hand and say, hey, here it is. But even still, you got to have your hand in it somewhere because no one else will do it the way you see it. They're going to do it based off of what you outlined and then their vision. And if it's their vision, it's no longer your vision. And I was doing a live the other day and I just told somebody, not to be all deep and spiritual, but in this season, in this next dispensation, God is breathing on what you build, what you put together, what you manifest, which means you got to have a vision and then you got to work the vision and then build what you see from there. But it's your responsibility, nobody else's. And
Levi, it takes courage to do that, right?
It takes a lot of courage because, again, you're seeing what hasn't been done before. And look, you'll have to stop me if I start talking because I can easily go on a tangent. But
go for it tonight, man. This is long talk. This isn't something we're going to wrap up in 5 minutes, so take your time.
Exactly. Good. Cool. So, like, for example, my groundbreakers, who I know some of them are watching now, I have a private group where I'm teaching them how to maximize the remaining days of 2020. And this group started because I preached a message called The Anointing of Nehemiah. And what was funny is when I preached that message, we literally had 54 days left until the new year. But what's funny about that story is when you look at that story and Nehemiah saw that the walls of Jerusalem fell, he went to prayer. And that's major. You got to pray because your vision, you can have a vision all day long, but if you don't birth it through prayer, then it's illegal. But that's a whole other conversation. But he got his vision, he got his strategy, he got his blueprint, and he was able to rebuild the wall in 52 days. If you look at that wall, it's like the wall of China, the Great Wall of China. It's huge. How do you build a massive wall that should have taken 10 years in 52 days? But that's what vision does. Vision will cause you to do what other people can't do. Vision will cause you to see what other people can't see. And if it's a God vision, not just your personal desire, but if it's a God vision that you strategically pray about, he will give you downloads, cutting edge ideas that will make you a trendsetter and a history maker. And then they'll try to figure out how'd you go from being homeless to being having a top 5 or top 500 Fortune 500 company. I couldn't get my words out. But you know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to thrive, if you want to win, if you want to be successful, you cannot be afraid to have the vision and then take courage to do it, even if you go by yourself. And hear me loud and clear. You'll think you'll have family members that will support you. Let me tell you now, they won't. And that's not everybody, and that's not throwing shade, but the reality is God will send you like-minded people, places, and things, but they can't support what you don't first put together. So you have to build it so they can come. You have to write it so they can read it. You got to put the business plan together so that way they can send money to you. But the vision you have, you cannot be irritated by it or feel burdened by it because you feel alone. Being alone and being lonely are two different things. You have to walk alone when you're doing something different. Noah did it. Noah had to build an ark that had never been rained before. People mocked him. They laughed at him. They talked about him. But he built the ark anyway. And years later, when it finally rained, here it is. He, his family, and everything else God told him to do was preserved. Mind you, everybody else is dying off. We'll look at it like this. Now, I'm a hush. We're dealing with COVID-19 still, right?
Right.
Everybody talked about how COVID-19 has messed them up financially and all these different things, which is true. However, In the same dispensation that people are getting messed up, Zoom is making $80 billion a month because they were prepared with technology for the next wave. So the future is for those who are prepared. How do you stay prepared? You have to have vision. How do you walk the vision out? You have to have courage. You have to have determination. How do you get a cutting edge vision? By doing it by way of prayer and not being afraid to go alone and realizing that they might not support today, but there's a crisis that is coming. But the crisis is not a divine announcement to stop. A crisis is the divine announcement to press forward, and it's for those who are prepared. Zoom was prepared. And so while everyone else is losing their jobs, they're making $80 billion a year, and we could have made them same coins. Just saying.
Man, there's so much loaded in there. Levi, we got to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to dig right into this whole idea of purpose. Dig right into this whole idea of purpose.
Yes, sir.
We'll be right back in just 1 minute.
George, I know things are tough right now, but I want you to know help is on the way. My administration is preparing to beat COVID-19 and get economic relief to the American people. On day one as your president, I'm prepared to sign a COVID relief package that fully funds the public health response needed, led by Georgia's own CDC. It will ensure free testing and vaccination for every American, and will get small businesses the assistance they need right now. Let me be clear. I need Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff in the United States Senate to get this done. There are folks in Congress threatening to do everything in their power to block our efforts. We need you to get out there and vote for John Ossoff as well as Raphael Warnock. We need them in the Senate. God bless America and may God protect our troops.
I'm Raphael Warnock.
And I'm John Ossoff.
And we approve this message.
We're back tonight here on Lone Talk, and we are just excited because this has been a conversation that came right out of the gate, really being such a blessing to those that are watching, and so many are commenting about how wonderful this is just being to them. Man, you said something right before the break. You said what would normally take long periods of time, but when it's a real vision, that is happening, and you know it's happening because you prayed about it. You've had courage enough to persevere through that crisis, and you said that crisis is nothing more than sounding the alarm for those who really had no vision to just stop and see. But now if you had vision, you'd understand that crisis says accelerate, move faster, go get it. Now is the time. And man, when you said that, something leaped in me that said, I feel like what I believe my vision has been coming through the end of this year is really taking off. And as you said, happening faster. And that thing really spoke to me. And I don't know who else is watching, but hopefully it spoke to you to let you know that there may only be 9 days left in this year, right? But somebody, if they have courage tonight, can accomplish what it may have taken many to do all of 2020.
Yes, and I'll say this real quick because it's funny you said accelerate, because God told me at the top of the year that whatever you establish this year, it will set you up for the next 10 years of your life, and that he would expedite and or accelerate it. And he said you're either in one of four places, and I'll make this real quick. He either said you're beginning for the first time, beginning for the second time, reestablishing, or going to the next. First, meaning I never wrote my book, never wrote my song, so write it. I started my book, but I failed. Okay, begin again. I started my business, but I want to change my brand colors. Okay, reestablish, change it. Or fourthly, I did everything God told me to do in the last season. Now I'm graduating to the next stage of spiritual maturation or business maturation or whatever. But whatever it is, I'm not saying with this 9 days left that we have to release the book. But what I am saying is at least start the manuscript, at least start the blueprint. I didn't make this up. I'm telling you what I heard God tell me in prayer. And so, yes, just like with you doing this show, doing this stuff, I thought it was funny because, we were going to do stuff later on. But I thought it was interesting you said, let's do it now. But because it speaks to the urgency. It speaks to what needs to happen. So my assignment in life, whether it be by way of this book, preaching, teaching, podcast, whatever, is to get people to realize maximize, burn, like set the fire. Let's go. I know Christmas is in 2 or 3 days. Listen, have fun with your family, but even that morning, I dare you to write something for your business plan. I dare you not to get so caught up in all this stuff. Yes, it's great, because the way the enemy works is he will use justifiable things that we look at as holidays or whatever, and yes, it's good, but now you haven't finished what you were supposed to do. And God is major on timing. But I'm a hush. But yes, there is definitely an acceleration here. And we've got to maximize. People are waiting on you, man. There's people that you're called to that I'll never reach. There's people that are watching who are called to reach people that we'll never touch. But if we all do it, we'll touch everybody.
Wow. You're talking good tonight, man. Man, and it's just so, we could stay there all night, but we got to move on. But, man, this vision to do something that's never been done always takes a great quantity of courage.
Yes.
And to see it happen, I don't know why I keep saying that, man, but to see it happen faster. I was just telling my wife, things that we were praying about 2 weeks ago, saying, God, at whatever point in 2021, and he had people call us on the phone to set the parameters that it's going to happen before the 21st day in January.
Yes.
And I was thinking, wow.
Yes.
It's happening because you got to be courageous. Oh my God, you got to go against the grain, Levi, right?
You have to. And that's what makes the difference between those who will be successful in this next wave of leadership, business, technology, and all of that. Even churches will never be the same again. Even when it comes to being an author and writing, these systems are changing, and you cannot wait till the top of the year to get it right. First of all, companies are typically 5 years ahead. What we're looking at as a new trend or mega trend is not even new. They planned it years ago. But we're not taking that same mentality to birth our business, our goals, our dreams, and our aspirations. We're waiting to be told what to do rather than being on the cutting edge and being a trailblazer. You don't have to do what everybody tells you to do. Be on the cutting edge. But that comes from knowing your purpose. You got to know who you are, and you got to know your life's purpose, so that way your purpose and your vision can work together.
Levi, it's funny you brought that up, because that's exactly where I was going. Because in the book you say it's the place, purpose is the place where the meaning and the understanding collide, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And you're saying that, and you go on in that to say, but that the things that collide are within you, not within Levi and Daunta. No, what's colliding inside of Levi is good for Levi, and what's colliding inside of Daunta is good for Daunta, right?
Right, absolutely. So yes, it's that collision of, oh, this is why I went through that divorce. Oh, this is why I went through that molestation. Oh, this is why I went through that car accident. Because it's that with, or mixed with, my assignment God put on my life, that God wants to go together for me to say, oh, I'm supposed to write a book. Okay. I'm supposed to preach a message. Okay. Prime example, I was telling my groundbreakers last night, I said, what if God gave you the assignment to birth a smoothie shop, right? And we might think that's not a big deal, but it is a big deal for the person who's creating it, who might have fought cancer or had high blood pressure, and now they have to change their eating habits. And so when you infuse your life story and mix it with your God assignment, that's how you unlock purpose. And so you're not just selling a smoothie, you're able to say, look, I'm drinking this because I almost lost my life. My sugar was high, my sugar was low. You see what I'm saying? It's as simple as that, but sometimes in this world of technology and social media and real reality TV and all that, we get so caught up in trying to make our lives be somebody else's lives rather than realizing, no, we each have a God-given assignment. And that too is how you accelerate, because you cannot accelerate when you're not in your lane.
Whoa, say that again. You cannot do what?
You cannot accelerate if you're not in your lane.
Somebody needs to write that in the comments.
When you cross over to someone else's lane, you create a head-on collision and you can accelerate. But the reason I can accelerate in my lane is because there ain't nobody in here with me. I was watching something the other day, and it low-key sounded arrogant, but I swear I wasn't trying to sound arrogant. But I was making a statement basically saying, I don't have any competition. Because there's nobody that looks like me, nobody sounds like me, nobody talks like me, nobody walks like me. If I'm in competition, I'm in competition with myself. And so the reason I can accelerate quickly is because I know who I am, I know whose I am, I'm operating in my purpose, I got my vision from the Lord, and I'm doing the work. And check this out. For those who are in my life that can't go with me, then I cut them off. It's not personal. It's not an attack. It's not to be mean. But I got to get to where I got to go. Look, life is short. We don't have all day. We don't have all night. How bad do you want it? Everybody does their New Year's resolution to say, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Why you wait until January? Start tonight. Y'all watching right now. When this thing goes off, start. What are you waiting for? You only accelerate when you stay in your lane, doing it the way that God gave it to you. Check this out, too. Even from a personal level, we can't vibe if you're not being yourself. I don't want to vibe with you trying to be Bishop Jakes. I don't want to vibe with you trying to be somebody else. Be you. Authenticity is the new currency. But I'm done. I feel like I go on tangents.
Authenticity is the new currency.
Yes, sir.
Making
Yes, sir.
sure that you and I are comfortable in our own skin.
Yes. Yes. Because if you're not, how do you think somebody else will be? If you're called to motivate people, how can I tell you to be comfortable in your own skin if I'm not comfortable in mine? I can't just teach authenticity. I have to live an authentic life. And let my life preach louder than my words or book ever will. The only reason why my book is a #1 bestseller is because I live an authentic life. People don't buy into your products, they buy into you. So if I sell shoes, people are going to buy my shoes if that's authentically what I want to do. If I decide to sell spoons one day, people are going to buy my spoons because that's authentically what I want to do, and it's my life's purpose, and it's my vision, and I have the courage to make it happen. All this ties together, but we don't look at it like that. We'll think, oh, if I have a vision, and then if I have my purpose, and I do this and whatever. No, it all ties together, and people buy into you.
Levi, it's funny. I was just saying to a vendor yesterday who was selling two different brands of the same product. I said, man, why is one identical in its makeup? Identical in its makeup.
Yes.
Why is one $600 more than the other one? He looked at me very candidly, said, you're paying for the name.
And that's it. That's it. That's it.
So watch this. I'm not even paying for the quality.
No.
I'm paying for the name.
Right. Right. If we're honest, we've all seen it where we've gotten products or services that were like, that was whack. Why? What is this? But like you said, you're paying for the name. So now here's my question. Why can't we have a household name? Why can't we do it? Why does it just have to be this what I was born into? No, you can die. You can be born a person, but die an entity. That's what everything else is doing. The Rockefellers, yeah. But we don't think that far, man. Like, we think about our geographical location, and we think about our local school, and we think about our local stuff. And there's nothing wrong with the community and local thing, because there's people called to that. But those who are called to the nations, who are called to do global things, you cannot think concerning your geographical location and your limitations right there. Think beyond. And if you cannot go beyond, then read books about other leaders and people who have gone before you. I do it all the time. I can read a book of somebody's life and read 40 years worth of material in 2 hours if I sit there and I read it. Quincy Jones, he's a mentor, well, not a personal mentor, but somebody who I look up to. Quincy Jones, 80 years old, was the soundtrack to everybody's life. Sanford and Son. He discovered Oprah. He discovered Will Smith. He discovered Michael Jackson, all these different people. And he is still alive today. His documentary is on Netflix. For 2 hours, I watched this man's journey. And I was like, wow, he came from the projects, eating rats. And then he was able to birth someone like a Michael Jackson in terms of business and career. And now here it is, Michael Jackson's dead and gone, and yet he is still here, and he's the one who gave him the sound. Sanford and Son, all of these different things. That's what I'm talking about. Where are the people that will think beyond their geographical location? Where are the people that will think beyond their limitations? Where are the people that say, yes, I was born into this financial bracket, this zip code or whatever, but I don't mind defying the odds. Take your courage, take your authority, take your dominion, and go do it. Who's going to stop you? Nobody.
Nobody.
You. We stop ourselves. We got to get out of our own heads. We got to stop sabotaging ourselves. I don't care if you have a degree or not, certifications or not. Get up, dust your shoulders off. If you have a vision, write it, do it, get it done. Come on.
The old folks said it like this, Levi. We are our own worst enemy, right?
That's it. We're our own.
I am what you said earlier. I am my own competition. I talk myself out of it.
Yep.
Or I am my greatest fan.
Exactly. Celebrate.
And you always heard people say, don't read your own press, right?
Yeah. But see, even with that, I'm going to flip it. I think people should. There's nothing wrong with reading the comments and all of that, especially from those that you deem as your haters, because your haters will tell you what your friends won't. Your friends will say, oh, that was good. Oh, that was great. But your hater who's trying to attack you, they might fabricate some of their story, but there is some truth in it. You probably could have designed your cover a little better. You probably could have marketed your event a little better. You probably could have designed your clothing a little better. There's nothing wrong with looking at it. I do it all the time because I want to know what works and what doesn't work, especially from a branding perspective. I can say all day long, this is what my brand is. But my brand is not so much what I say it is. My brand is what people perceive it to be. And so you got to see what they're saying so that way you can figure out, okay, how do I rewrite my vision? How do I revisit my blueprint? How do I revisit this? So that way I can do what I need to do to find success in an ever-changing industry, in an ever-changing world.
My goodness. It's going to take some courage, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because I know what we're saying tonight is not easy. And I know it's not something that you can just turn around just because we're talking about it. Mm-hmm. It's going to take somebody tonight. And why tonight, though? Why tonight, Levi? Why tonight?
Because why tomorrow? Why not tonight? You know, we talk about how every day's not promised. Look, you never know who you're going to meet tomorrow at the grocery store, at the barber shop, at your church, at a school that needs what you have. Prime example, if I never wrote my book, Young Sir, that would not be the topic of discussion for tonight. But I had to write it in 2018 and release it to set us up for this conversation in 2020. But we don't look at stuff like that. If I would have never wrote the book, I would not be a best-selling author. Even with that, the reason I'm an editor-in-chief of a magazine, it's because of this book. But the book has nothing to do with the magazine. But what it did was the owner of the magazine saw the book and said, hey, maybe because you did this, you can do this. Didn't even read the book. That's why we have to get out of our own head and try to chart everything out in A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You don't know what God's going to do. Your only assignment is to do it when God says to do it, because delayed obedience is disobedience. I can't tell you why. Just like I even said earlier, I don't know why God said establish it this year. All I know is he said, if you do it this year, it will set you up for the next 10 years of your life. So instead of us trying to fight God and figure it out, just do it. So that's why tonight is your chance again to do it. Don't wait till January. January might be too late. Someone might need your concept, your idea. We'll even give another scenario. What if someone who's watching says, you know what, tomorrow I'm going to go to Starbucks to start my outline. And then when you go to Starbucks tomorrow, you cross paths with a single mother who needed your smile, who needed your hug, who needed your book to say, you know what, I love your vision. Here's my vision. Let's collaborate. That's why tonight.
That's
You
why.
got to do it now because you don't know what tomorrow holds. The future belongs to those who are prepared.
I love it. I love it. Listen, we're going to take another quick break and we're going to finish up because we have got to talk about humility.
Yeah.
Humility. Let's take this quick break and we'll be right back.
I want to talk to you about the stakes in this election as plainly as I can. If we're going to get this virus under control, get folks back to work, and make sure affordable health care is available for everybody, we've got to send people to Washington who aren't interested in playing political games or making themselves rich. We've got to elect folks who will get to work for people like you. That's why I'm supporting Reverend Raphael Warnock in the special election for Senate. Reverend Warnock's someone I've known for years. He's a man of great moral integrity, a leader in the truest sense of the word. He's spent his life pushing for justice, fighting to expand healthcare, protecting voting rights and the dignity of work. You don't find a lot of people in Washington like Reverend Warnock, and that's exactly why we got to get him there. Please join me in supporting Raphael Warnock for Senate.
I'm Raphael Warnock, and I know we can do better. That's why I approve this message.
We're back here on Lone Talk this evening with our guest. He's been lighting it up tonight nonstop. Levi Harrell talking about purpose, talking about no doubt making sure, absolutely sure that you have a vision for what you're doing. And tonight, Levi, I just want to get into this whole element in your new book because you've been talking a lot about the vision. You've been talking a lot about the purpose, but you really hone in on this whole idea of having humility. And in talking about having humility, I jotted this down. You said it like this. You said humility is tied to respect, not weakness. And that makes it a strategy as well as a principle that allows you to move on and not lose what you possess.
Yes. And it's interesting because people look at humility as weakness and just being meek and mild. But I look at humility as like a garment a garment of camouflage, concealing your greatness until its appointed time. And what I mean by that is this: everybody's not ready for what you have. The Bible says it like this: don't cast your pearl before swine.
Yeah.
So in other words, I look at humility as a garment of camouflage. As I said, concealing your greatness until its appointed time. There's some of you out there that said, look, I feel like I've been in the dark. I feel like I've been in hiding. When is it going to be my turn? When is it going to be my season? When is it going to be my moment? But what it is God hiding you because the atmosphere is not ready for you yet. Or the people at your job are not ready for what you carry yet. Or the people in your ministry are not ready for what you have just yet. And so while you feel like you're being stuck or stagnant or whatever, no, what God is doing is concealing you in garments of humility where you'll see things, you'll sense things, but God won't let you speak on it yet. He'll just have you hush. You'll be like, that could be changed over there, but he'll have you hush because if you speak out of time, your words are now, instead of them being a blessing, they'll be more like a curse because they're not ready. And so again, I like to talk about the concept of humility as being garments of camouflage, concealing who you are, concealing your power, concealing your strength, until you get with the like-minded people, places, and things that have the capacity to handle your greatness. That's why some of you now are feeling like you're dealing with some form of rejection. But we understand that rejection only means that those people don't have the capacity for you. That church doesn't have the capacity for you. That school does not have the capacity for you. So put your garments of humility on, your garments of camouflage on, and politely excuse yourself and get in the right place, and then unleash who you are with the right people, places, and things, and watch everything in your life, as we said earlier, will accelerate. So humility is not a weakness. Humility demands respect because those that are paying attention will be like, wow, Levi could have said something back then, but he really didn't. Levi could have really called so-and-so out, but he didn't. Levi could have really made that whole ship sink, but he didn't. Levi could have really did this, but he rather decided to shut his mouth, put on the garment of humility, and then excel in his own lane. And now the truth is being revealed for those who are watching like, oh, that's what happened. So that's my concept on humility. I know it's a bit different than what the average individual would think. Yes, humility does mean being meek and mild and all of that. But as I said, it demands respect and it's a strategy. Everybody's not ready for your greatness. And then you also save yourself by being humble. Because if you talk out of turn or move too quick, you're now putting yourself in something you're not graced for just yet. You might be called to do a thing, but is it the time to do it? You might be called to release the book, but is it the time to do it? So that's what humility means to me.
I love it. I love it. Levi, what a tremendous book you've written here tonight. I am so honored that you took the time to share it with us. And I want to invite everybody who's watching, if you have not picked up a copy of this book, please go to Amazon. Type in his name, Levi Harrell, and you can find, there it is. Find it there so that this can be a blessing into somebody's life who really needs to hear this, right? Somebody needs to hear this, and somebody really needs to even sense that this is the right time right now, or even as soon as right now.
Right now, literally. We have the gift of Google. You can Google anything. We have Siri. You have Alexa. Ask these technology voices what to do and how to do. Now, still do your due diligence to figure out what's truth and what's false and all of that. But there is no excuse whatsoever. You just got to get the courage and do it. I want to say this real quick, if you allow me. The other principles in this book are so we talked about purpose, we talked about vision, but we also have the pain principle. And I'll say this real quick. Pain is not a sign to stop. If you feel pain, pain is a sign to pause and recalibrate and figure out what was I doing wrong that I can now do in another way, or what worked in the last season that's not working in this season. So don't stop at the pain. It's only a pause sign to say, hey, change my strategy, change my plan, and let's keep moving. You have the love principle, especially as men. We act like we don't know how to love each other, but that's a whole other conversation. We have the wisdom principle, the integrity principle, the service principle, the awareness principle, the intuition principle, the obedience principle, and the leadership principle. And all of that is inside this book. And again, women, you can get the book as well. The principles are not gender specific. Anybody can read it, but it's directed to the young man.
Absolutely. So again, please go to Amazon.com, pick this book up, and allow it to really speak to you. Levi, of course, we didn't get to all of it. Friend, will you agree to come back at some other point?
Absolutely. As you see, I can run my mouth forever. So listen, I'm down whenever. Just let me know. And again, thank you for having me. Thank you for the invitation.
Friend, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. And,
yes, sir.
I hope that you will continue to inspire as many as you do, even with Groundbreakers and what you do at Limitless with Pastor Kim, and all that you do across the country with traveling and with the magazine and so much more.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Pray that you continue to make the type of impact that you have been assigned to do and predestined to perform.
Absolutely. Thank you. And I pray that as you continue doing this show, that you will reach a higher level of individuals and reach changing lives with not just the guests that you bring, but you even sharing your story and preaching and teaching and all of that. What you're doing is perfect for where the world is going right now. Absolutely.
Thank you, friend. I sincerely appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
All right, you take care now.
All right, bye-bye.
Take care. Take care. Friends, tonight this has been a long talk that I pray has really encouraged you and been a blessing to you tonight. You just got to have courage. There's no better way to say it. There's no prettier way to say it. Courage is everything. Courage shapes your vision. It shapes your purpose. It shapes your destiny. It really gives you humility. It really completes everything that you need. And so I pray that somebody will have courage tonight to do what they need to do. You've been assigned to do it. You've been graced to do it. As a matter of fact, you need to do it right now. Don't wait. Be yourself. We said that in our conversation. Be yourself. Listen, I don't need you to reduplicate anything that you've seen previously. Go against the grain. Be authentically you. All right? I've enjoyed this Long Talk tonight. Thank you so much for watching. As always, connect with us here at Long Talk. We absolutely love it when you connect with us and we're able to continue the dialogue as we do many times after the show on Twitter, as we do on Instagram. If you've got questions, go to the Twitter page, ask your questions, and one of our staff members will assist you. If not myself, I will go, as many of them sometimes say, Daunta, come on, we need your help in addressing these issues. So go to our Twitter page, go to our Instagram page, go to our Facebook page. Many of you are watching on Facebook or perhaps YouTube. If you're on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button. Please also hit that notification bell, because you want to be with us here every time we have a meaningful dialogue. I often say this: meaningful dialogue and effective communication takes time. So let's not be in a hurry. We must get the solution to all of our problems and the answer to all of our questions. All right? I've enjoyed this Long Talk, and I look forward to seeing you again this Thursday night. Take care.
Follow us on Facebook at Daunta A. Long. Follow us on Instagram at Daunta Long. Follow us on YouTube at Daunta A. Long. Thank you for tuning in to Long Talk.